Hello traders, I'm looking over here at the market right now. Today we're gonna have a scalping strategy. I'm gonna explain you how to make 500 bucks every single day with the scalping strategy. It's helping thousands of traders. You're gonna see what we did today. You're gonna see how the strategy reacts in this market. And it's a strategy that you can trade in stocks, in futures, but also know that traders use it, for example, in Forex. So I will show you some examples and also in crypto. So stay with me. For who doesn't know me, I'm Jay Trader. I'm a trader with 25 years experience. I've been trading the Italian market in futures for the first 7-8 years. And then I moved into the American market. I've been coached by Steve Nissen and Ken Calhoun of the Trading University. If you don't know who Steve Nissen basically is, the trader who brought in the last 40 years the candlesticks to the West, because candlestick, as you know, they were founded, discovered by a trader in Japan. So when he was trading rice in the 18th century. So this is what we have today. A few things over here that I believe you can see. So this is one of the accounts that I trade, and it's so different trading when you don't have to deliver. I was just saying today over here we closed with 2,000 live account. I've been trading here at my trading academy. You can see just over here behind. So my team today was over here. So we had like 5 trading stations. Next week, we're gonna have even 11 traders over here trading with me, and it's beautiful. So we traded 3 stocks. We traded this on a small account. We traded like small caps, but also we traded large caps. You can see how, for example, I use my screen. And this is the first thing that you need. You need a professional trading software like Das Trader Pro. You can use Sterling or Das Trader Pro. Das Trader Pro is a little bit like less expensive. It's generally about $120 per month. Certain brokers, they will give you for free when you generate, for example, a big amount of commissions. Okay, so you can work out the deal with, I would say, your broker. And sorry, and Sterling is a little bit more expensive, also very professional. I know that certain prop firms, they prefer, for example, Sterling. In this case is, as far as I know, around 200 bucks. But even here, you know, there are promos sometimes, so it's kind of different. How to set the charts for scalping. So 1 minute chart, as you can see, for example, over here, and you don't need a lot of things in the 1 minute chart. So in this case, let's put, for example, Wito is a stock that we traded this morning. Use only one thing very reliable. I go over here and I will show my parameters. What I use over here is a 72 and 89 exponential moving average. So the J lines on the 1 minute chart. So simply put that over here. And then next to it, have a 5 minute chart. All right. So 5 minute chart that allows you to see the bigger picture. And we can see here what I use. Again, on this chart, simply have very basic indicators. So J lines, which are in this case 14 and 17, because 729 divided 5. Use a 9 EMA and use a VWAP. That's all you need. And this allows you to trade scalp, long and short, all day long. No, I simply stay 30 to 60 minutes a day trading. And this is what we did today. Okay, it's a small P&L. And as I always say, I don't really care too much sharing the P&L. For me, it's important the process to build traders in the room to help them succeed. But this is exactly what you can do even with a small account. Actually, I shared in the last 4 weeks everything that I did in my small account, and it grew 400%. So pretty good performance, again, when you're simply trading stress-free. And then have a daily chart, because it's super important. This allows you to put, for example, the key levels. Okay, so we can see up here, I have a daily level. And for example, this is a Tesla. Today I didn't trade Tesla over here on the account, but again, I will put on my daily chart all the levels. Okay, so this for me is a key daily level, and that level you can see there's reflected over here on a 1 minute chart and on a 5 minute chart. And then simply have level 2, which in this case is the level 2 set default. I like to have also an enhancement. So whenever I trade small caps or large caps, I have 2 different metrics. So if I want to highlight a bigger order, So anything above, for example, in small cap land, above 5,000 shares. So you will see over here a bracket that is like flashing black. Or in large caps, if I have anything, for example, above 2,000 shares, I will have a bracket that is flashing above 2K. And this is what you need. Times in sales, that's it. One more thing is to have a scanner next to you. Now, we use X2Trade in the room, and it's the best scanner that I believe exists out there. But if you want something included on your trading software, this Industrial Pro is more than good. Now, let's look together on how to start preparing for the scalping day, okay? First of all, what do you need? You need to define always a pre-market high and a pre-market low, but let's say we have a gap up, we're looking for a pre-market high. And we need a strong catalyst. I cannot simply trade anything out there that is moving. So a strong catalyst is a strong news, a press release, PR, or earnings. For example, we had earnings on NVIDIA. For example, we had earnings a couple of days ago on Amazon. For example, we had the big news this morning on ALZN. And then start looking for the high relative volume at open or in pre-market. What does it mean? Let's say that a stock usually, all right? So we have a stock that usually we can put over here our ALZN. This stock usually trades very low volume. I'm talking about maybe 100, 200K per day, okay, per day. This morning, the stock was trading 3, 4, 5, 600K of volume per minute. So you understand there's such amount of volume versus, okay, the previous days. So I will take into consideration this stock because it has a high volume. In this case, what we see over here is that we have a high relative volume at the open or in pre-market. And then I want a clean chart with low overhead resistance. What does it mean? If I take, for example, ALZN, it means that above the actual price, I don't want any kind of big resistances. This is a trading system. This is a bot that we're going to deliver and we're going to give to the traders in a room for a very small subscription, something very stupid because we worked 2 years on it. And it tells you the moment of entry, it tells you the setup, it tells you if the market is bullish or bearish. So it gives you all the possible, I would say, helps, tools that a trader needs. But you still need, to do, I would say, your analysis. And this line that you see over here, this red line, is an automatic line that as soon as I open the chart, it comes out. In this case, it tells me if we have overhead resistance. So that line is our overhead resistance, is a resistance where in the previous weeks, months, or years, I can set it up for different metrics. Tells me that we had sellers and volume trade at that point. So I don't need, volume profile. I don't need to use so many other things. That tells me that if we break this resistance and we have volume, the price of the stock will simply push to the upside. That is the point, okay? So over here, this is a daily level, okay? This is a daily level. Is overhead supply, is where we have a high volume node. Means we have traded a lot of volume here. If we break this level, and this happened exactly today, okay, so I'm putting this chart today as a live example. If you break this level with volume, the price will simply skyrocket. As a matter of fact, it went from 6 to 9, okay, so about 45, 50% was around 895 or something like that. So this comes automatic. Let's go back to our, I would say, sheet over here, our guide. Tools, level 2, okay, we spoke about level 2, VWAP, so we spoke about the VWAP, and EMAs. Now, level 2, again, let's go check over here because I want these things to be very, very clear. Level 2 is what you see over here, this flashing yellow, green, okay? And it's why it's important because it tells you the sellers and the buyers that we have actually in the market. So without that, I'm blind. I cannot simply trade, guys, based on solely the stock, the levels, okay? Why? Because if I do that, I would be more a swing player. Instead, I need Okay, the level 2, because the level 2 will help me to determine if we have buyers or sellers. The second thing, as we said, we need a VWAP. So this red line that we see over here, for example, on Tesla, why it's important. Okay, I can enlarge this. Okay, this red line over here, why this is important. Because I don't take as really a like reference, but it's the reference for so many traders out there. So this tells me where traders will like allocate themselves, generally above for a buy, below for a short. And then I would say that EMAs is what for me is the most important thing, is about the J-lines. So these two gray lines, which are the J-lines, so which are the 72 and 89 EMA. What I can tell you, well, we can see, for example, this morning on SPY. Okay, this is SPY. You can see every single time the price over here gets near the J-lines, the price rejects. We can see, for example, this on Amazon. Okay, so again, every single time that the price over here gets near the J-lines, okay, it's a beautiful rejection. So we're looking for these short plays, and so on, so on, so on. So these are the three things that you need to scalp. Again, for who just came over here, I'm explaining, showing my live account up 400% in about 4 weeks, share every single trade in the room. Other day I closed 5 figures up. That was on a larger account, sorry. But it's so good to share with the team, with who I trade, the process more than the P&L. So I'm trading and I'm sharing because I want the members learn. And I've been doing this for 25 years. Now, few things to say. And we are gonna have a Q&A when we finish. Look over here, guys. This is the first thing that you need, right? And this is the second thing that you need. What are the news that you have to look for if you want to go long in the market? Earnings, very important. Remember PLTR months ago. Remember coin months ago. Clinical trial results. Now, there's a big difference in clinical trial. Why am I saying like that? Because if you're trading small caps, you're going to see stocks like LZN, CETA, BCLI, ADBL. They're in about half a day or even some hours, they went up 2, 3, 4, even 1,000%. Now, I'm not the best trader in the world. There are so many more traders better than me. I made always a living in trading because I was very disciplined and I use a trading strategy that is like profitable, back tested, and reliable. But there are so many other traders better than me out there, discretionary traders that they have, you know, like this sixth sense. I'm not like that. I have to follow the rules. And if I don't have all these news of catalysts, of these news of these parameters of my charts, how to select the stocks, I don't actually trade good. Okay, so I was always very scientific in the way that I traded since I started in 1999. Now, FDA approval and clinical trials, you have to take these and measure them because the clinical trials, guys, there are several ways. There's the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And inside these phases, there is like phase 2B, or I would say an update. The most important, remember, is the phase 3 final endpoint met. And why? Because that tells you already that the drug is set. Okay, so it means that we have to go now to the FDA approval. It's set, it's done. So it's the best news that you can have. So whenever I see in the morning and I look in my scanner and I see, wow, phase 3 endpoint met, I know this will go all the way up. When we have FDA approvals, though, sometimes you will see, wow, this is FDA approval, let's buy. You know what happens? Sell the new scenario. And why I tell you that? Because the market is already discounting, okay? Is already discounting the FDA approval. What I mean by that? If you already know that is approved, it's like the news is already metabolized, already absorbed by the traders, by the institutions. And what they will do? They will simply sell. So remember, FDA approval generally tends to be like a little bit pop in the morning, like a gap in the morning pre-market, and then they fail. While phase 3 endpoint met is the toughest, biggest, strongest news you can trade on. So whenever I see that, I know it's a big scalp opportunity for me. That is the main point, guys. That is the main point. Now, few other considerations. We have over here multiple factors. Headline includes keywords. So you will see sometimes COVID, AI. What is strong right now? AI, nuclear, and quantum, QBTS. Okay. So stock that fits within the hot sector. Let's go to this one and why I believe this is one of the most important things. First of all, scalping rule will help you being profitable because you always keep the risk under control. I know that a lot of traders have difficulty sometimes to take the home runs, right? You see maybe Tesla going from 210 till 230 and you manage nothing. Well, this market is very, very difficult. And I believe that taking home runs is hard to trade them. So take hit and run. Stay in 5 minutes, out, another 5 minutes, out. And I will teach you this soon. I will show you live examples of what we did. So the first thing you have to do is find profitable entries based on the news, based on the gap that we just spoke about. The second thing is hold winners and make money. So you enter, you set your stop, and you look for the target. The target generally is going to be 2 or 3R what you're risking. Have also a high win rate. This system that I'm showing you is going to give you more than 70% win rate with at least 3R return. Avoid bad trades. So when you have something that is with no volume, not in the news that I told you before, not in the setup that we're going to see soon, you don't have to trade it. That's it. This is the first example. And then we're going to go after these in live trading. So you can see that we had 2 green bars. We had a pullback over here, 1 red bar, then another green bar. And then we have this breakout, okay? So on this breakout, you don't actually enter on the breakout of the red line, but you wait the next bar that is actually dipping and then pushing. And this happens in pre-market, and this happens at opens. This happens on futures, on forex, on stocks. It's always the same thing. That what the traders do is that they enter on the 5th bar. They enter on the bar of the breakout. And you know what happens? This bar often is a fake out. So wait that we close above the resistance and then wait the dip. And I'm going to give you exactly the way that you have to look at this. So best scalping trading opportunity ever. Very high win rate. Bullish bounce over here. So we're talking about the same example. You can see over here that the price goes up. We have 2 red bars and then we break, right? And you can see that when the price pulls back, we have bullish candle. Below you put the stop loss, enter over there. So you want to see a little bit of bounce, risking that stop loss, risking that support, and then you take the trade to the upside. Okay, so don't actually enter on the breakout. Look how many times breakout fake you out, especially if you trade forex, especially if you trade futures. Be smarter. Wait that we retest that breakout and see if that is solid or not. I'm mentoring a lot of traders. So right now, together between the room and other mentorship, I'm following almost 700 traders. And I can tell you that the majority of the traders have bad habits because they enter in breakouts. Breakouts were good in the 90s, in the early 2000s, before market makers and algorithms 2008, 2010, they started to be very active. But right now, you cannot simply trade breakouts. Imagine AI, what it's going to do against you. So you have to become smarter. And let's go to the new example over here. This is for the short side. So again, it's not that, oh, we filled the VWAP, let me short it. And maybe below we have a support, right? Wait that the price is fading and wait for the pullback. But even on the pullback, you have to wait that we break that support and we retest it. So once you retest it, then you have the confirmation that that is going to be a good trade. This is going to be clear because we're going to see more examples soon. And this is all for you guys, what we're going to make today. So LZN is a stock that we had this morning. It's a stock that had the news. It's a stock that started to push very strong. And I didn't really like it this morning that certain traders were looking over here to stay on the short side. Why I say that? Well, first of all, we have to analyze why LZN was up. What is the news? Why is the reason for this to be pushing this morning? So first of all, LZN is a nano float. So when we say about this, I'm going to report over here the stats on this company. We had these stats over here. These are the stats on ALZN, okay? So we can see that the float is 780K. What does it mean? It means that if we have guys, 780K shares. It's nothing. It's nothing, okay? Means that you can buy this for a couple $1,000,000. And also, whenever I see a flow below 3 millions and I see a volume up here that per bar minute has more than 200K, I know there's a potential long. The news over here is Nero announces dosing of first patient. It's phase 2 clinical trial. So we have a phase 2. It's not a phase 3. As a matter of fact, look what happens. We have a push over here pre-market. This is actually 9:30. You can see in this volume over here. And after 9:30 starts fading. It's not phase 3. This is a phase 2 update on clinical trial. But now, how to scalp it? Okay, first of all, you need a scanner. First of all, this can happen at 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., even after hours. Can happen, as I said, stocks, futures, forex, crypto. So the same strategy I'm going to explain you here is the same strategy you can trade on multiple assets. And I've been doing this, and so many traders have been doing this that I coach. The first thing is that you have to wait for a pivot. You have to wait for a high. Like in this case, you see this high at 560. That's the first most important thing. You don't enter before we made a high, and then we had a pullback over here, okay? So we have a first high, okay? So we have this, this high up here. This is a 570 that we can see. And then we have this pullback. This pullback is generally a consolidation called accumulation, okay? So remember that when we curl over here, and on this curl, we start seeing volume to the upside, what do we have? We had volume breakout. And as I said before, don't buy over here. So we're going to do this, okay? So we're going to look at the market, what it does. And essentially, you can see that we break over here, the resistance. A lot of traders will enter over here. I personally tell you, wait. You want to see for a dip, and that's a perfect dip. This bar. Why? It's in our band. So this is in the J lines, okay? This band over here, this band down here is what I told you, the 72.89. This band over here is the 14 and 17. Okay, so the two J lines. And you wait for this band, you wait for that support, which was the previous pivot, and then you start buying over here once we bounce. And now from there, it went all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. And look over here, look at volume. Volume of 1 million for a $7 stock. That's a tremendous, terrific amount of volume, okay? So when you see this volume, get only long. This eventually, we can see over here, went all the way up until over here 9. Over here you can see, and at this point, just look. This point, the system that we trade, it started fading. And in the room, we were calling this, if you're part in the room, I was sharing 2 trendline breaks this morning. And we started shorting over here into the 850. Me and Cabo. Cabo closed on this trade, I think, almost 5K. He's a beast, that guy. Much better than me. And look over here, we faded. We faded, it went all the way down. This is the J lines. It's always going to get till there. And then you see the bars getting red. Now the first J lines over here getting pink. You know what happens? Look next. 10 o'clock. 10:30, 11, 12. So now you have a clear way to decide, okay, to see what generally small caps do. So the first scalping strategy that I want to get to learn is this. Wait for this resistance breakout. And it's the first pivot. And then you enter over here along on the dip. But that's not yet. You can do this so multiple times. And how you can do this? Well, remember what we have. Not only one, so we have over here another one, and we form another pivot. So once we break over here, this pivot over here, a lot of traders will enter at this point, okay? They will enter over here. But remember, how many times you enter on this breakout, and then boom, goes all the way down. And you say, fuck, these breakouts don't work. These breakouts don't work. Guys, I was there. I lost a ton of money in the market when I got to the small cap. And I tell you, trust me, when I was trading Italian market was much different. European futures were much different. And only in the last 7 years, I also tried the small caps. And the first couple of months, I had losses. And from time to time, I still have losses, don't worry. But when I started seeing the market in this way and finding strategies and backtested them and see how they could really give me an edge, this is a second breakout. So I waited, we have another pullback. In this case, my system over here is giving me the long. So that is the long play that I want to trade. And then I can continue until I have that volume. Now what we have over here, we have another pivot, right? And over here, wait, we have a pullback over here. And then giving me a push, another pullback over here, giving me a push. Why would I enter long? Three main reasons. First one, volume above 200K. So you want to see that volume above 200K per minute. You want to see bands, J lines, okay, 14 and 17 and 7289. Bullish. They are from Fibonacci. And then you want to have like the candles, blue. And then holding support pivot. So the pivots that I mean, okay, the pivots are, this is a pivot. This over here is a pivot. And before we had another one, this over here is a pivot. All these three are pivots. So you want to enter on those. Those are the pivots. And by the way, guys, this is so funny because when you see over here next to my level 2, and this is one of the accounts that I use, right? This is with Zintra. Hi guys with Zintra, I love them. And thank you this morning for the call. So pistola means in Italy, pistol. And I want just to make this funny. I was screen share also this account when we had last week on Friday, I had a live trading session in front of 300 people in Italy with Rob J. Hoffman. He's a world trading champion, I think like 4 or 5 times. And he was a sheriff. So imagine that in trading doesn't really matters where you come from. He was a sheriff and now he's one of the best traders that I've ever met, world trade champion. So we are trading his account, my account, screen sharing. And everybody was saying, because we're in Italy, hey, you wrote pistola over there. Yes, this is my AK pistola. So one thing I want to tell you is be precise, be a sniper, be patient, PSP, precise, sniper, patient. I'm going to guide you into different examples this morning, but I want to go into the BA. This is a stock that I particularly like. We came over here with the news this morning, so you have to look the news. BA this morning was strong with the news, okay? This is the first pivot, okay? So look over here. Market came. This is the first dip that we had. We had a pivot this morning. After the news over here, we had a dip, okay? You can see a 203. And what happens, the majority of the traders will enter over here on this bar, in this breakout. Wait that in this case, we have the dip over here and push. We wait for a dip in that support. Now, I know what you're going to tell me, Jay, but isn't it better over here if we wait for a dip? Let's make it better. Isn't it better if we wait for a dip like into this support and then push? Well, not always you're going to have that. But if over here, this is dipping and pushing, and we can see this, for example, on a 30-second chart, okay? So we can see that we're actually making a little bit of cup pattern. That's a beautiful trade to take. Also, you can see again over here, I have my system giving me the buy. So this is automated. It comes over here, tells me everything is aligned on 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute, and 30 seconds. See over here, for example, in that moment. So I can take the trade. We want to go into that moment and check how was the trade. So this is what happened. You can see that at this point, okay, so let's go back over here just like one bar. At this point, we still have this trend line. So you have to prepare in advance, right? And he's saying long, as soon as the bar is starting to form, once we have this breakup, you get in partial, just for a starter, just to, like Nate said, wet your feet, okay? And then over here, we close into that resistance. The next bar, look how it opens. It dips a little bit and start pushing. Okay, that's already your buy. And then, of course, if you have this dip, you're going to buy more. Where's the risk? We're going to risk over here just below our pivot. This is our pivot over here. And then the trade continues to go. And this is BA this morning. Okay. So this was a very strong move. And look where it will go. J lines, bounce from the J lines, bounce again from the J lines. And then over here starts fading from the J lines. So whenever you have a trade and you think, okay, where I can short and where's the target? That's going to be your target. Always the J lines. I know it seems silly, but it's totally like that. I had traders in the years that they came from everywhere, every single asset, and they tell me, works like a magic, works like a magic. Okay. So it does. We had Wito. Okay. This morning we had LZN. We're going to check with you bet and how you can make an insane return on these stocks. Okay. An insane return. So the first thing is find your pivot. Find your pivot. So I'm going to explain you better what I mean. So we have, there we go. We have our stock. Okay. So we find a pivot over here. And therefore at that peak, we're going to put up a pivot and we're going to put a resistance. So that's the first thing. Okay. And don't trade in the middle unless you're short. You want to go for a short play over here, but don't actually enter. Okay, so wait that we break this level. This is the first pivot over here. You can see this relative high. And then you start looking, okay, what's happening over here? And look at the play. Look at the play, guys. The play over here comes exactly into the pivot. And we have the band over here start bouncing. So we have the first pivot. This is the second pivot. We break the pivot. We can actually start buying over here on this little bar. Okay, so on this one over here. Then look how we have the perfect curl. That's the pivot that I want to buy. At the same time, I will use the 3 minutes and I will use also the 5 minutes. This is on a 3 minutes, okay, just to show you. So this is all the J-lines, how they're working, okay? So this is the algo. This is the bot, not algo. This is the bot that I'm using. And I use it mostly on the 3 and the 5 minutes. So you can see every single time that it's giving me buy, okay, I add to my position. So this is on the 3 minutes and this is on the 5 minutes. So you can see actually how it's working. And there we go. This is the scalping. Push, dip, and where you get out partial over here. Now we will be looking for the price to break this level of pivot and then to hold over here and start bouncing. So we actually have a breakout, fail. Over here, we don't bounce, so we don't trade anymore. And then at a certain point, we're going to start having like a breakout, pull back. You see, this is a beautiful bull flag. And that's actually where we took the trade into over here, 37. This was scary because few days before, this was, I think, around $1. This was really scary on this day. And nobody wanted to trade short. Some people are even afraid to trade long. But when I see these plays, okay, so when we break the pivot and we dip, when we break the pivot and we dip, then I want to trade it long. And over here, again, it went all the way high. Always another one. Was a monster move. And how did I see this? Okay, this is a trade that we got in the room. How did I see this? Well, first of all, you have to look the close of yesterday. So the close of yesterday was over here. We had 20. There we go. Over here, we had 27. So we closed down here. The price came down. So it started like being very weak at 9:30. And then over here from 9:30 over here, this was up already like 15, 20%. So I have it in my scanner because I'm starting to look stocks above 20% during the intraday. And over here, we have the pivot formed. And you can see now what happens. Pivot formed. Over here, we have a break. So you want to see the break. We start dipping over here into this. You can see this level. We start dipping also with my bot. The bot over here gives you the confirmation of the long, and then you take the trade. And remember what we said before, you're looking for those levels of daily resistances, okay? And that level over here is that. That's the overhead resistance. So look what happens. We sell into that. What happens next? That's a level of resistance. Okay, good. Now we can put that as a pivot because it's a key daily level. And what happens? Over here we have no break. Over here we have no break. Over here we have break, pull back, dip. Again, over here you can see that the system is giving the long play, and then it starts going all the way up. Personally, I will never take these trades all to the upside. I will never be able to take these from $3 until 12 because of course I will start scaling out sooner. And sometimes we'll get to, maybe 50% of the move and I will have 10% of the shares. But if you're able to do this one time, second time, you can look at all these different pivots. So we create another one over here at this level, and then you see the dip over here and the system giving the long. And now you start to put another pivot over here. So you look all those key levels like this over here, right? No break, no break, break over here and retest with a pullback. And you will continue to go on until we have that volume increasing or volume being over there. That is one of the most important things. EJH is another stock that was a killer. Okay. We're talking about a small cap. I shared this live in the room and I bought this at 0.14. I didn't have a great feel, but it was a good trade because I sold it into 19. And then look over here, what happened next. The price came red. Okay, so when it came red over here, you short it or you don't trade anymore. And then over here, after the open, again, it gave us a long play. So that day, we had over here many of these plays. Okay, guys, Kish, Maha, Jay, I will answer all the Q&A in about 5 minutes. Let me finish over here because this is important. I'm going to explain you really how to scalp like even 5 times this. It was up on the news. The volume over here was insane. So this is the first pivot that I put because we have this resistance. And then over here, we start dipping, okay? And you can see that the system over here is giving me a long, but often you will miss this. As a matter of fact, and I shared the trade even on in the room in front of everybody, I got long over here. I didn't like this long over here because now my stop was a lot. I was entering 0.14 and my stop was 0.11. I had a massive win, but also I was risking. I always risk one time to make 3, but I was risking too much. My entries has to be at the dip, at the J lines, at this blue line, okay? And I made a free video, okay? We had 130 viewers on that video on how to use the J lines, so that's free. Look on my YouTube and subscribe and see it. That's the next pivot. So the next pivot over here, I will enter if you have the catalyst, so the news, and we had it. We have the resistance. You can see that we break out, we pull back, J lines is below. Okay, this is my long, these 2 bars. And you can see the volume up here. We have bars of 2 millions. Now, it's not 2 millions a lot because we have a $0.20, so a sub $1 stock, but it's still a decent volume. And then over here, we had nothing anymore for the morning. And you can see the system gives you short, give you short, give you short. What happens next? 9:30 opens. Now, I didn't follow anymore. And that is my miss for the morning. Pivot. Okay, volume is there. Oh gosh, yes, we have 8 million now. Guys, we have 8 million. Before we had 2 million, now we have 8. 4 times the volume before. And this is a stock that doesn't generally have 8 millions per minute. This is a stock that generally has maybe 1/10. Maybe because I have 2, 3, 400K per minute in a very big day. This was an abnormal, super big day to trade, okay? So this is the first thing. We had a breakout. And again, if you are very fast, if you have a read of tape, you can enter in this bar a little bit because we dip. But I prefer if we have this second dip. The second dip over here is perfect. This is where it dips into you can see the J lines over here. That's perfect. So I want to buy over here. And then I can simply look to trail all the way up. And again, what happens? Breaks the J lines, start rejecting. Okay, get your short. Okay, so we've seen over here so many of these plays and so many times how we have, remember, first of all, the push, make a pivot. Second, you want to see a dip, a consolidation. Then you wait for the breakout. Then you wait for the pullback. On that pullback, if we have strength, That's the reason why reading tape or order flow and bookmap. I gave just yesterday a lesson on bookmap. It's important. And the same we can actually use on intraday. Okay, this is for example what we had today. In this case, on this account, I traded over here 3 shorts. Not a particular day, but they were pretty good tight risk, and we closed the day with 2K. All right, so let's see over here. Let's see some questions. I believe that you guys have some questions over here, so let's go over. Do you recommend 3-0 software? Would you? Okay, 3-0 is not bad at all, as long as they clear the problems that it has sometimes in pre-market or the open, where their routes, and their soft end had problem like of lagging. So I know personally some friends of mine or even myself been stuck and I couldn't exit the position, and that was a little bit scary. They don't have Dust Trader Pro, so they don't have actually what I'm showing you about over here. That you see this, okay? So they didn't have this. This is super fast. This you can put with all the keys that you want, and I can give you the keys. So if you can, go with Dust Trader Pro. We have Zintra, so if you're not from the States, reach out. They give you a discount from Zinta. It's one of the best prop firms right now, but it's a real prop firm, so it's a real trading. They really give you the money. I know the owners personally. I know the team personally. We've been making like webinars with them and seminars all around the world. They're very, very good. Kishore, good morning, bro. Thank you, sir. I always look forward to watching your live session. There's something new to learn every time. Truly appreciate the knowledge you share. Thank you, bro. Why I'm doing this? Because I don't care about the following. I could make videos with my Lamborghini, villas, and everything. I don't care about that bull crap. I mean, it's not broken because I like it. But I'm more serious. So what I'm doing over here is telling you, is teaching you really how to day trade, because I have a lot of traders in my room that they respect me and they respect the work that I do. JMM, hi Jay, can I ask you something? After COVID-19, the hot sector was biotech and healthcare. Nowadays, how do you read with a different hot sector? Does biotech gap and craps would happen on the new hot sector? Yes, absolutely. But I wouldn't tell you too much gap and crap in these cases. I would tell you the hot sector for me has been this. So let's put this up. QBTS and all stocks of quant have been like the best setups to trade. Let's put a 50-minute chart so we can see a little bit better. So this is QBTS. You can see how in the starting of May with this breakout from $7 until over here 11, right? So what I tell you is that you form your pivots even over here. You form your pivots even over here. And then you can see whenever we looking to play this, and if I put over here the system, you can see that we have the pivot, right? Then we have a breakout. Don't enter the breakout, wait for the pullback, and you can see my system giving the long over here. Then we wait for this breakout. Okay, let's look what happened. So we wait for the breakout over here, nothing happens. Okay, now we wait for the same, you see this high, we wait for the breakout down here. It breaks over here. What happens? We have a pullback, the system over here, you see the long play, that tells me longer over here, this over here. And then I'm gonna make another one. I'm gonna put another level over here. So you see the pivot over here, again, the pivot. This is money maker. You'll make $500 every single day, like I told you over here, because it's true. So it pulls back over here. It holds over here. You see this is a bar candlestick. Also, my system, if you're part of the room, you can see this in screen share. So this gives you a long. Otherwise, you can long yourself, and then you have a big push. So this over and over and over. So one of the hottest stocks, sectors is definitely quantum. Stay with all the stocks of quantum. So go home today or you're in the office, research. Quantum stocks are some of the best to trade right now. I simply love them. They're giving a lot in terms of return. Other stocks that you could be trading very good are PLTR, Coin, MSTR, even if a little bit more expensive. Tesla, of course. NVIDIA, of course. If they're too expensive, Tesla take TSLL. So it costs like 16, 17 bucks. And it's highly performant. That means that you have a lot of range. And another thing, traders I want to tell you. So this is the experience that we have in San Marino. So what happens over here? Almost every week I have the academy. Okay. So like next week, I will have between 3 and 12 traders coming over here. So they see how I trade with no bullshit, live accounts, futures, large caps, small caps, and all. And they can trade with me. But experience, which is in July and September, is 5 days where you work out with me. So you're going to pump some muscles. You come to eat with me. You do mentorship with me. You trade with me. You come to eat at night with me. We go to the swim together with me. We go to the beach together with me. And it's how you build a trader, mentality, mindset. We do meditation, all this stuff together. So you change 5 days. Okay. So this is going to be for all the traders. Okay. All the traders that want to commit seriously. We're going to have 5 trading days experience, July and also here September. Now, team, just 1 second. Last thing I want to tell you. See you again next time. Love you all. It was an incredible day. My team, some of my traders got 5 figures. No bullshit. Really 5 figures. And what else? You want to join the room? You know where to come. Thank you very much. See you next time and wait for the experience over here in Italy.